Welcome to Kezar Stadium in San Francisco, California for this International Rugby League match between the United States and Russia. Opening kickoff for the American Patriots and the Russian Bears. It's number 6, Sheglov, kicking the ball down. Taken very nicely by New, and it's George Irwin carrying the ball up for the United States. This is first down of 6. Wayne Grady here from Houston, Texas will now take the ball up. He takes it himself, and Phil, oh, there's a knockout right off the bat. Mistake by the United States.
Yeah, bad mistake. Ball security's often been a problem for the USA. It's a pretty nervous start by both teams, I think. They'll settle down soon.
You just can't turn the ball over. If you're going to do it 5th or 6th down, is the time to do it, not in 2nd down. And this is a scrum down. This ball come right out. Russians on the attack. Number 3. Dumanikin on a break. Russians making some good ground here early. Phil, they look very disciplined. We saw that in practice.
Yeah, they've been practicing their set moves. They want to spin the ball wide.
Here they come, number 13, not carrying the ball up. Karakov, he looks like a big, good athlete there. Again, the Russians have been playing league 5 years longer than the U.S., and there's a penalty infraction. The referee, Stuart Cummings, caught Tony Flay with a shot to the head here. Not a very smart play by Flay. Gives the Russians an easy kick in front of the post. Sheglov with the attempt. The kick is up, and it's good. So the Russians on the board, 2-0.
Yeah, and speaking of that win, that's about a 10-point breeze blowing behind the US team. They've got the breeze behind them. They can't afford to make mistakes like that. They should go in at half-time with at least a 10-point lead with that win behind them. Now they've got 2 points to make up already.
So the United States will now kick the ball off. David New, Aston, Pennsylvania, former Australian Winfield Cup player for St. George. And here comes Russia on the attack again. Good tackling there by the United States. It's Wayne Grady on the tackle. It's number 5 for the U.S., Wayne Reed also getting in there. Number 6 for the U.S., Keith Cassidy. A couple straight tackles for him. Russians look very thorough in their attack. Now they're spinning it out wide. Oh, good tackle, good hit there. That's number 12 for the U.S., Doug Erickson. And now the U.S. has got the ball. Here comes Wayne Reed from Houston on the attack. And feeding the ball out here, Mike Dwyer, the captain for the United States. He'll start it. Dwyer, a veteran of Patriot campaigns down in Sydney, and the Russians quickly eat him up.
As you can see, this is the power game.
Here comes Tony Flay. That's into number 8, George Irwin, carrying the ball up. Flay again, trying to get the Russians off. Uh-oh, here comes Big Fred. Fred Grueller. Good break there, Fred. This is his first international game. That was a good break.
That's the first time I've seen Fred, and he looks very good. Very big, strong, fast player.
George Irwin. United States with some good physical play here, Phil. They've advanced the ball very nicely. Here's a good spin out. All the way out here to the wing. That's number 4, Mark May from Houston, Texas.
Now the ball turns over to the aggressor.
And after 6 downs.
So that's a poor option there. It was probably a better option to kick the ball into the end zone, try and pin Russia in their own end zone.
Well, that's what David New's out there for, and you get away from David New, and the U.S. doesn't have that experience. So Mark May from Houston marking the Russian players there. Do some good tackling, Russians with some good forward progress. Oh, almost a spin out, a little hesitation there. David New right on the tackling there. Fred Grueller now marking. So now the Russians will try and take it upfield. There's a good break by number 12. Karnov, he's from Moscow, 27 years old, one of the older players in the field. And here comes Russia with the kick to touch. So they took advantage of their 6 down, Phil, and picked up 45, 50 yards.
Yeah, that's the basic tactic in rugby league.
Here comes number 12, Karnov, up the field, big man. George Irwin takes him down pretty good, though. Nice hit by George Irwin. That's the way to take a guy down to the turf. Scrum down now, United States put in, but Stuart Cummings sees somebody with a little blood on him. He'll send him into the blood bin. A little break in the action here. More rugby league on the... Welcome back to Kezar Stadium, where the Russians lead the Americans by a score of 2-0. After a touchback, the Russians will drop kick the ball out. Sheglov's kick taken by Jeff Preston. Boy, does he love that. Well, he just foams at the mouth with the opportunity to run forward, run into people. I think Jeff would rather run into people than around him. Number 14 for the U.S., Ray Loiso. Number 7. Here comes New. Flay, a little crossover. Boy, they went right to Flay's face. There's a nice play. Mark May spinning it out. It's number 11, Zacharias. And there's Fred. Really, they just can't take him off his feet. So this is why they go out and watch it here.
And the USA really needs to score here. If the Russians keep them out with 12 downs in a row, that's psychologically very good for the Russians. The US needs to score.
Here comes Tony Flay, cut back. Tony Flay almost got in there. Nice cut back. And there's David New, the quarterback, now in control. Who's he going to give it to? Back inside to Big Fred. And boy, I think the Russians were waiting for Big Fred.
I think they've seen that one before.
I don't think you're going to see Fred going outside too often. So here's Flay. Last down, Flay. Oh, right on the goal line. And he's held up, which means the Russians held the Americans again.
That's a handover to the Russians. Again, it's a bad option on the last tackle. That ball should have gone to David New for a kick.
Even on the 5-yard line like that?
Even on the 5-yard line. Just a little dribble into the end zone, tackle the player that takes the ball, and you get another 6 tackles.
So the USA, one experienced player in the field. Look at the tackling there by Gino Seegers, number 17, and Fred Grulich. Those are two big men. They both go 235, 240. Look at that straight arm right there. Look at this Russian player. Now that's a player, Phil. That guy has got some quickness.
Yeah,
that's number 13. That's Kurov. Number 3, we've seen a lot of him already today. That's Dumanikin. Oh, look at that. The Russian player pulled the American off there. That's Flay. There's a kick, a pop kick. So if they get this ball in the air, they're going to get 6 new downs.
It's rugby league's version of the bomb, and what you're really hoping for there is a mistake, but the Russians were offside and they didn't allow the receiver a chance to catch the ball, so they've been penalised.
Here's Kiryakov. He won't get a penalty for that. He just straight-armed Jeff Preston. Preston won't like that. Kiryakov is a good player. You can see that.
Here's Tony Flay, Ocean City, New Jersey. Out to big Gino Seegers.
That's a good run from Gino. Good, strong run, but taking 3 tackles to bring him down.
Yeah, he gets up, plays the ball pretty quick, but we aren't playing the ball quick enough. Here comes Fred Grulich. Look at Fred. I mean, that's charging low.
Another good run, and he's playing the ball reasonably quickly.
Here comes Tony from dummy half, taking it himself. Tony Flay with the break. The United States scores.
That's unbelievable. I never thought I'd see Tony Flay do that. What a step. I'll have to call him Twinkle Toes now.
Tony not known for his quickness, but I don't think the Russians expected him to dummy the ball outside.
This is a very simple touchdown, but like a lot of touchdowns in American football, it was set up by the way Tony Flay's been playing the whole game. He's been drifting across, passing to someone running off him. This time he drifted across, didn't pass, went himself, caught the Russians napping.
And so the United States on the board. That's a pretty easy score considering what they've been through. That makes the score 4-2. Hey, May's got the kick up and good. We'll have more rugby league action after this.
Welcome back to Kezar Stadium. The United States lead the Russians 6-2, but the United States just turned it over.
And the USA squandered another opportunity. Look how quickly they play the ball. Nice dummy fake there. Boy, there's no U.S. defense. Look at this. Number 6, the kicker, Andrei Sheglov, and they're still on their feet. Number 2, Rokov.
I'm going to have to reassess Tony Flay's speed because he was back there to make that tackle.
Now there's a penalty. Wayne Reed holding the Russian player down. He got called by Stuart Cummings, the referee. But watch this break. Sheglov, the kicker, a little fake on the outside, sees the hole and takes off. I just can't believe there's that much of a hole there in the defense, and that's because the guys are staggered and not shoulder to shoulder across the field. But here comes the tackle. Britton Kaufman, the last line of defense, slows him down enough for Tony Flay, and the USA dodged a bullet there.
US defense is going to have to be right on the ball here because the Russians have already made a few breaks, and this is about the first time they've been inside the 20 with a good chance to score.
And there's number 12, the first sacrifice, Sergei Konev. Here comes the kicker, number 6, the number 10, Yamolov. One of those 22-year-old students. He's from Moscow. Here come, nice play here. This is a spin-off. Number 13 scores a try. That's a nice play, Phil. That was a set play, too, I think.
Well, the Russians saw what I just saw. The US didn't number up on their defensive right-hand side. There was more Russians out there than Americans. All they had to do was send the ball to the Russian left, the US right. and they were going to score because the US didn't count the numbers and get as many guys out there as the Russians had.
So we got a tie score now, 6-6. This is a 2-point conversion coming up from a stiff angle, and I'd say with the wind conditions in his face swirling from this angle, Phil, this is a tough task. He gets it up. It is short.
Cold evening here at Kezar, but not a bad crowd on hand, room for the U.S. Here's the kickoff by David New.
6-6 score here in this international test match, and the Russians are coming right back at us, and they go out of bounds with the ball. It's a major mistake, Phil. He should cut back there to avoid that.
Yeah, Kiryakov just undid some of the best work that he's done in the game by running out of bounds.
Scrum down, American put in. Unlike Union, they allow you to put the ball right into your feet, and the idea is here they don't want the ball being in the scrum, and they want the ball out amongst the backs and some good play. More of an entertaining form of play.
Yeah, the rules were relaxed a few years ago. You used to have to put the ball right in the middle, but the team feeding usually won anyway, so now they've relaxed the rules to the point where it just goes in and comes out.
The U.S. on attack. Mike Dwyer getting pulled back by the Russians, and here comes second down. Number 6, Keith Cassidy towards the right sideline. Here comes Tony Flay, dummy half in. Tony tries to take it himself. Gets 5-8 yards. Here comes David New. New's more of the quarterback of the field, Phil.
That's right. He has all the experience. He played with St. George in the Winfield Cup. He sets up the play as he did for Fred Gruller there. The only problem is the Russians probably know that, and they'll be sweating on the players who are running off David New.
You got to believe Fred Griller's been a pretty exhausted man by the end of this game, and there's his bookend made, his other Marine Corps buddy, Jeff Preston. They've been making some pretty good ground forward, but the U.S. just can't seem to capitalize and score on this. Oh, there's a bad pass.
Yeah, it's falling down in the fundamentals. The last pass doesn't stick.
Oh, there's a mistake. It's a penalty. Must have been an offsides play there.
Yeah, he was offside. He was in front of the kicker. He has to stay back 10 yards from the man receiving the ball.
So the Russians will take this. Andrei Sheglov, and he'll just get this ball to touch, and then restart the play. Here comes ball, come back in quickly.
There's a danger sign there for the USA. The Russian kicking game's quite good into the wind. In the second half, they'll have that wind behind them unless it drops, and that's a danger sign for the US. If their kicks are that good into the wind, how will they go with the wind?
Well, second down coming up for the Russian Bears here at Kezar Stadium. Oh, there's a break, number 8. That's Garfulin. He almost got through. This is 4th down. Pretty good setup here. Oh, there's a tough play. That's number 13 who scored the first try. Kuryov. He's a tough man. Straight arm. Look like he's played some football.
Kuryakov, like I said before, their best athlete, obviously.
Oh, there's a fumble. Now there's a knock forward. 6-6 score here between the United States and Russia. When we come back, more rugby league action from Kezar. Stay with us. Welcome back to Kezar Stadium, where the Russians have just taken the lead over the United States by a score of 7-6 on a drop goal. David New of the U.S. kicks off, kicks it out of bounds. Here's the drop goal. Sheglov, number 6. Watch him come over here. Now, he's got a stiff breeze in his face. We said the guy's got a good foot. Look at this kick, 35 yards. Dead wind in his face, up and good. That breaks the deadlock. It's now 7-6 Russia over the United States. On the attack, in comes the fullback. That's number 1, Karlamov. Good defense here by the U.S. There's a big hit. Number 10 for the U.S., Fred Gruller. Boy, he's getting a workout. And here comes number 9, Sergei Grindenev.
And that was a waste of that good tackle by Gruller, because poor marker defense let the dummy half get 10 yards then.
So the Russians are pinned on the sideline. Ooh.
4 Americans, 3 Americans over there. But look how quickly they still get to their feet. The U.S. can learn how to hold these guys down a little longer, Phil, because they're getting back up and moving it very quickly.
Yeah, that's something only experience will teach the Patriots, how long they can hold a player down before they're penalised.
Almost blocked. Nice catch by number 4, Mark May.
That's another high tackle. I'm surprised that hasn't been called.
The referee, Stuart Cummings, was right there. He allowed that to play. All the way out. Oh. Number 2, Scott Hansen, couldn't handle that ball. Luckily, it went backwards. Phil, wasn't a knock-on, and the USA still advancing.
Yeah, if that had stuck, that's the right play. The Russians are playing a short defensive line, a compressed defensive line. They're relying on shuffling across field with the ball, and that's the right play to get outside them, but the ball has to stick.
Mike Evergen, here's typical the U.S. They do very well till about the Russian 10, 15-yard line. Then they find a way to make a mistake and give the ball up. Here's a little roll around, and Flay gives it up again there. And there, another turnover. So last couple of times down, Tony Flay turned the ball over. There's a Russian player down, but play will go on. They will not stop for this. Look at number 6 for Russia. Sheglov, the kicker, he's pretty tough. Who isn't tough on the field, huh?
No one who plays rugby league.
Just keep track of all these tackles and all this contact. Pretty ferocious game, and there's 3 Americans in the tackle. It's May, number 4, number 2, Scott Hansen, and Zakharevich on the bottom, number 11. Russians on the attack. There's a collision. That wasn't Sergeant Slaughter. That was Fred Grueller. They do look alike. They got the shoulder pads on, and they tackle a lot alike, don't they, Phil?
They sure do, and they run the same way, so they're both like running into people.
Hey, Mike Evergen wrapping him up very nicely there. Evergen, a good athlete from Newport Beach, California. But Russia really making some advances, and then the Russians make a mistake. Here comes Scott Hansen.
That's good speed to the loose ball there by Hansen.
And here comes Mike Dwyer, Captain Mike Dwyer, recently married. Got married in June 20th. Down goes to number 6 out there for the U.S.
The Russian defensive line is playing in compressed. They're in very tight. That's why the Americans are running into so many tackles all the time. But they're playing into the Russian hands by turning the ball back inside all the time. They should be spreading it wide.
Well, the U.S. continues to throw the big man at him. Flay feeding it out to the quarterback, David New. New gets caught with the ball himself. And there's 4 Russians there, Phil. You're right. Seems like the Russians are just...
They're just waiting in the middle of the field.
There's Tony Flay with the kick. And now the Russians on the counterattack. I don't think Flay will get him. Flay's not really a back out there.
That's still a good chase. They've pinned him down pretty close to his line.
Ray Luiso, number 14. He's from Carson, California. There he is again. 2 tackles in 30 seconds. And there's Ray Luiso again. He's got 3 tackles in 45 seconds. So Ray, he's getting some good playing minutes here.
Yeah, that was good play. That's the kind of thing that'll get noticed from the coaches.
And number 3, Mike Dwyer, just missed a tackle. He doesn't do that too often. And there's a free ball out here.
That should be 6 more tackles for Russia. Actually, an American hand touched the ball there, and if the ball's touched by the other team, then you get the 6 downs start again.
Good hit there.
Mike Dwyer and David New.
Yeah, some veterans.
I think I'm starting to see a little fatigue on the court. A big spin out to the end.
So here comes the Russians in the attack. They went backwards, that long pass out there. Look at Fred Grueller.
Well, Fred Grueller missed them. The guy ducked under it.
Number 13.
Boy, that number 13 is a tough dude. Kurikov has scored that first try for the Russians. Here they come, to the hole. No, any time left in the clock, and it's a missed tackle by the fullback, and Antonov scored. There's no time left in the clock here, Phil.
That's a great pass from Andre Koryabin. Any of the Winfield Cup players like Glenn Lazarus or Jason Stevens would be proud of that pass. Brilliant pass to send away number 5, Gennady Antonov, for the try.
So the Russians are now in the lead 11-6 with the conversion coming up.
That shows the importance of that field goal. If he kicks this, that'll give him a 7-point lead. That's more than a touchdown and the kick after. That means the Americans have to score at least twice to get ahead.
Kick is up, it's good.
Well, that gives them a 7-point break.
And that's it. That was the last play of the first half.
So as we take a look at Alcatraz, the Russians lead the Americans 13-6. The city of San Francisco was a gracious host for the Russian and American Rugby League teams. Receptions were thrown at the Washington Square Bar and Grill and Pat O'Shea's. But when it came time to practice, it was out to the polo grounds for some serious action. The American Patriots and Russian Bears weren't the only rugby league game in town. The pregame was between the Los Angeles Condors here in white and the Texas Rough Riders in black. Los Angeles dominated the first half, scoring 2 or 3 tries early. Referee Stuart Cummings called the first. Then it was Mike O'Keefe from 45 yards away. Bang! That put LA up 14-0 early in the first half. Early in the second half, LA scored again. Score now was 20-0. Things did look good for Texas, but out of nowhere, they found some kind of spark. The Rough Riders got on the board here. They scored 3 times in the second half, converted on all 3 tries, but it wasn't enough. Final score, LA 20, Texas 18. Early in the second half here between the USA and Russia, Russia leads 13-6.
Here comes Fred Gruller. How many times have we seen Fred Gruller charge on? He's been tackled 25 times today.
There's a lot of hit-ups, Fred Gruller. It's called a hit-up when you just take the ball straight up like that.
Number 4, Mark May from Houston got rumbled back. There was no marker on him, so that's why the Russian tackled him from behind.
A lot of trouble holding onto the ball there.
So in comes number 15 for the U.S., David Brown, 5 yards out from that line.
There's still not a lot of creativity in the U.S. attack, though.
Here comes the Americans.
Comes David New to about the 2 or 3 yard line.
And David was really looking for someone running off his right side there, and there was no one there.
Here comes Tony Flay.
Tony's been held up over the line. Now, that's not so bad. That means the US gets a scrum feed out on the 10-yard line. He's been held up. He has to touch the ball down to score, but he's been held up by the defense. But the US gets the ball back, so that gives them another 6 downs, and they're only 10 yards out.
Boy, they've been knocking on this door. They've been down here in the red zone for so much time. They come away with no points. The crowd comes to their feet. They want to see a U.S. score here. There's a nice little switchback, but Phil, you keep bringing it up there. Keep going back to the Russian strength.
Yeah, that's all. The defense would have been moving across from the scrum there and turning the ball back inside to Mike Dwyer, is just presenting him to about 6 tacklers.
Mike Everidge to the 7. Everidge to Flay here. Flay passes it out to New. There's a little run around all the way out. There's a good play. Jeff Preston down to the 1 yard line.
It was a good last-ditch tackle by the Russian there. If he missed, Preston was in.
Ray Lariso. Oh, Ray didn't get in either. Here's Flay. Flay's in.
Yeah, Tony Flay, try number 2. That's a good dummy half try.
So the United States finally cracks this Russian defense, and they did it up the middle, too.
Well, this is another simple touchdown for Tony Flay. Just a straight run from dummy half. Has the experience to dive underneath the Russian defense. I thought after he scored the first try that Tony was overplaying his hand a bit going himself from dummy half, but that tries a just reward, and if he can put another one on the board, well, it could send the USA on the way to victory.
It's back down to that 1-point game, 13-12. More rugby league. Welcome back to the Deuce and coverage of USA-Russian Rugby League, this international test match, first ever between these two countries. Penalty.
Now, that's a bad call, I think. The referee was unsighted. The ball came out. He's assumed that it was raked out, but the Russian just lost it. This gives the Russians a chance. They've got another penalty. They've advanced down the field on penalties, basically. They'll kick. They'll probably gain 10, 15 yards, and they'll be right on the US line.
Call them off, little punch. Now they're down to about the 10-yard line. 6 downs. First and goal from the 10.
Basically, that's what it is. And it's a goal line stand for the US. They're only a point behind. They can't afford to let in another touchdown here.
So it's number 9, Sergei Grindarov. He starts the play. There's the big pileup of stars and stripes. Mike Everidge in the bottom. Here comes number 15, making a good crash to the goal line. Finally knocked off his feet. Dave Brown there from Houston with a good tackle, number 15. Brown marking him. Oh, and here comes one of the big guys. Oh, right up the middle. That's a set play there. That was a nice play.
That's a set play, and it's very close to an illegal play. As Tony tells you at the start of every game, there's no blocking in rugby league, and a couple of those decoys that went through almost acted as blockers. That could well have been penalised. That's
the big man for his second try, Kiryakov. And so Tony Flay and Kiryakov have tried, double tries. Comes the kick by Shegloff. Good in every attempt except for one, and there it is. That's his 7th point of the evening.
Well, I guess now we get to see what these boys from the States are made of. Over here, internationally.
Mark May to kick off for the United States following the score by the Russians. They have the lead 19-12, and they've got 6 downs. Who shows up first for the United States? It's Wayne Reed, Dave Brown, both of Houston. On the mark, though, is Zach Herreras.
It's a good hit by Gino Seegers. He certainly learned how to tackle rugby league style since his experience in New Zealand. Totally different from when he played defensive end at Winston-Salem.
There's a turnover by the Russians deep in their own end, so this will be a scrum down. U.S. throwing.
That's right. The Russians put the ball out of bounds. The U.S. get to put the ball in the scrum. They should win it.
Scrum down to the United States. The Russians kicked it out of bounds. And David New is the feed, and it's out. Good fake by New, but they ate him up. Again, they're still pressing too much towards that Russian defense.
Player just fell over there. They need more than these one-out plays.
Oh, and there's going to be a problem with the exchange there. That's Ray Lariso.
Well, as we see that again, you know, once again, Russia could have been penalised there. There was a bit of Russian interference in that play of the ball. That probably helped the fumble, but one thing you've got to do in rugby league is that the first man to handle the ball is called the dummy half. He stands there behind the play of the ball. He has to make sure, if nothing else, he has a clean pickup.
Well, there's the stud for the Russian team. Kiryakov, he's really been a stud. And there comes a counterattack back for the Russians, and there's Fred Grueller, one arm, taking him down. News on top of him. Okay, Fred Grueller, for a big man, has played some game. He's been all over the field. Oh, there's a fumble picked up by the United States. Dave Brown. He's calling a penalty here. No, he's calling back 10, just back 10. Here comes the U.S. in their first 6. Out to the sidelines.
You can see there that the Russians now had a number up. They had as many defenders out there as there was attackers. They saw the short side was the way that the U.S. was going to go, and they had people out there.
Dave Brown learning that you don't run into 2 guys like that. Gives the ball up. Another turnover for the United States. Boy, let's see what the minus and pluses are in this game. I'm sure the U.S. has turned it over a lot more than the Russians. As I say that, the Russians turned it back over. So maybe a little fatigue here with about 12 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah, I think the stress of the game is starting to show on the players. The ball security is not as good as it was earlier in the second half.
Scrum down, David New with the put in. Up, I think the referee's calling offsides on the Russians.
Yes, Kiryakov's come out of the scrum too soon, and he was offside.
Another great opportunity for the United States to close the gap here. Late in the game, after about 150 tackle, probably 190 tackles between the 2 teams, 190 collisions. I think the boys are getting a little winded.
Yeah. There's a lot of tackling in rugby league, easily over 200 tackles in a game. A lot of players making 30 to 40 tackles individually.
Stuart Cummings. I don't know how he's communicating with the Russian players. The only person that speaks any English is their female interpreter, and she's not on the field. There's Big Gino trying to get to the goal line. That's on the 3-yard line, the first of 6 downs. And here comes Tony Flay out to distribute the ball. Fred Grueller, and they've got Big Fred pretty well marked on that one.
Yeah, they've seen that 20 or 30 times tonight. Now, in struggling to break the tackle, he's lost the ball.
Another turnover on the 1-yard line for the United States. They've done that at least 4 or 5 times tonight. And Phil, if you take away those turnovers inside the 5-yard line, the United States could be really dominating this game.
Yeah, just like American football, turnovers will kill you.
Oh, Fred Grueller with a big hit on number 5. That's Antonov. He scored that breakaway try at the end of the first half, and he's down, and I think we have a little penalty here, and Stuart Cummings is giving a little advice to Fred to keep the tackles low. Fred walks away, but it's going to be another penalty to Russia. They're going to kick this ball up the field a little bit and have the opportunity to start 6 down somewhere around midfield.
Yeah, that tackle didn't look that high to me. Actually, Stewart was motioning that he jammed his head on the ground, so it might have been for that. It didn't look like that high tackle. It looked like a good hit to me.
Yeah, it was a good hit, but he called him for the high tackle. And oh, no, that's what he called him for. Fred Grueller, right there. Little extracurricular activity. Stuart Cummings called it very properly, and Fred just got caught. Now the United States are down about 8 minutes to go in the game. They need a break here.
Yeah, turnover by the Russians now would help the U.S. a great deal.
There's a good tackle right there by Gino Seegers. Threw the guy right back. There's the Russians on the attack. A little missed tackle there. Oh! Now that is formed tackling. That's Doug Erickson. Nice play, but that's almost obstruction there, Phil.
Yeah, the Russians have been getting away with that all night. Now they've got a big break out of it.
Yeah, they're on the attack. That was a good run. Number 3, we've seen him all night too. That's Dumanikin. And here comes the Russians, number 6. That's their kicker, Sheglov. He's got a couple of American Patriots all over him. That's big Fred Grueller and Tony Flay. It's number 7 now with the ball. Number 2 for the Soviet Union, Rokov. And they're pressing again, 10 yards out. Last tackle. Drop kick.
Another attempted field goal. That would have spread the margin to 8 points, but it's missed. So the U.S. get the ball back on their 20.
We're not going to get 2 in one game tonight.
So the U.S. dodged another bullet there, down by 7, with less than 7 minutes to go in this contest.
Welcome back to Kezar Stadium, where the Russian Bears lead the American Patriots by a score of 19-12 with only 7 minutes to go.
The Russians now will start their 6 downs. Midfield, probably going to be pretty conservative with the ball, wouldn't you think, Phil?
Yes, all they really need to do is play out their 6, put in a good kick, and then defend.
Number 8, we haven't seen much of him tonight. Garfulin.
I've got to commend you, John, on the job you've done with these Russian names.
Yeah. Here's our stud again for Russia. I really like his ability as an athlete. He has been all over the field, offense and defense. He scored 2 tries. Kiryokov is my MVP for the Soviets, excuse me, for the Russians.
Yes, he certainly had a very good game. Very strong player.
Now this is running across the field, Phil. That's a rugby union no-no. You shouldn't do that. You can't do it in league. And they didn't like it in union. Here's a break. Number 12, Karnev.
Well, that's a try gone begging. If that ball had stuck, the Russians were in, and that would have been the end of the game. The U.S. still has a chance. They should get the ball back from a scrum here.
Good break by the Russians, though. They saw that hole, and it's probably fatigue for the United States, but Wayne Reed from Houston makes a good comeback, disrupts this play here. Or again, Phil, you're right, that could have been another try for the Russians. USA doesn't have a lot of time left.
Now there's a 10-yard scrum, and the USA has the feed.
Over 200 collisions or tackles in this game. There's the feed. The USA loses their own feed, and the Russians go knock it out.
Yeah,
very
confusion.
sloppy.
Yeah. Players getting very tired now. But that again showed the Russians went in with a big push in the scrum, and the US wasn't ready for it.
You're going to miss one hell of an upset.
Now they get the scrum feed, so obviously they're saying that the USA knocked on first.
Number 7, Gavrilin, has got the ball out to number 6, the kicker. There was a lot of action tonight, Sheglov, and he's down. Good tackling there by USA captain Mike Dwyer. And Soviets in 3rd down. Now this is number 3. We've seen a lot of him tonight. Dumanikin, and U.S. again with their backs to the wall. Another goal line stand here.
And they've had to do a lot of tackling in the last 5 to 10 minutes.
There's a missed tackle here, but the Russian player running across the field doesn't accomplish anything.
Great hit by Doug Erickson then.
And the Russians still trying to...
Another good tackle by Doug Erickson.
Still trying to find a hole in the U.S. defense. There's been some holes. They've had some breaks, but the U.S. defense has bent, hasn't broke too often. Here's number 8, another good tackle. And that's it. Game's over.
It's full time. Russia wins.
First time these two countries have ever met in international competition in Rugby League 13s. And the Russian Bears have beat the American Patriots 19-12. A very good game, a little sloppy in the end.
On hand from the British Rugby League, Chief Executive Maurice Lindsay, he was impressed.
First of all, the Russians, I think, are improving dramatically. They're coming along leaps and bounds, bearing in mind that they've only been playing the game now for 3 years and get very little international competition. I think they're improving game by game. The Americans, well, they've got no one to play rugby league against, so I think it was a tremendous tribute to them that they performed so well. Obviously, fitness, perhaps on both sides, needs to improve to get to top international level, but a great prospect.
I'm here with 2 American players, a little disappointed. Mike Dwyer, the captain. Mike, you guys were down there knocking on the door many times, just couldn't put it in.
Yeah, we made a lot of mistakes when we shouldn't have, probably. It comes down to experience, and the Russians have more experience, and 8 points more experience than us right there.
Tony, you've been on the World Cup Union side, and here in this historical match, scoring the first try for the Patriots, pretty thrilling, but at the same time, I'm sure you're disappointed because you were down there so much yourself.
Yeah, it's tough for the players to come together in such a short, space of time, and I'm proud of them. It was a step up the ladder. Next time out, we'll be a much better team, and I'm proud of my guys.
Tony's got good reason to be proud of his American Patriot teammates. This exemplifies the way the Patriots played all night long here. 10 yards up the field, good run. Flay to New to Evergen, 10, 15 more yards at a clip. They ran up and down the field, but they couldn't score. Turnovers, like in football, killed the Patriots. You'll see a turnover here. Our final thoughts from Kezar after this.